What if everything you have deemed as impossible really was possible? What have you known and believed was possible your whole life? You just didn't know how to actualize it. Come and discover a world of infinite possibilities on Outside the Impossible with Venus Castleberg. On this show, we will share pragmatic tools to create the life and living you truly desire. And now, your host, Venus Castleberg.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Last week, it was fascinating because last week's radio show was debunking the myth of being too much, and basically talked about, being too much, having too much, pretending to not be too successful, too rich, too different. And this week I really wanted to kind of expand on that a little bit more, and also talk about, and maybe even clear, some of the places where we have put a lid on how much we can be, do, and have. Because not only do we stop ourselves from being too much, we also stop ourselves from having too much. We stop ourselves from creating too much. It's like there's this myth, I want to say, for lack of a better word today, but somewhat how you can be too much, and that it's not okay to stand out and be different and be weird. Truthfully, one of the things I do love about the hosting program I have with OMTimes is that it's this platform full of amazing radio show hosts, and it really is an invitation to be as different and as weird as you'd like to be. Because what the world needs more of is everybody being themselves, and not being, replicas of everybody that came before them, or replicas of what's supposedly the standard. I mean, can you guys remember the time? I know it's still a little bit in the fashion industry, but do you remember a time when all of the ads, all of the magazines, everything that you saw out there was like all the girls in like size 0, And I know fashion industry still has that a little bit, but at the same time, that is just not, all the actresses and all the actors, they were all perfect, right? There was this perfection thing, or not, I should say ideal, but who's ideal, right? Because the truth is that nothing's perfect. But that was the normal. That was the okay, if you want to be a model, if you want to be an actress, if you want to be, even singers to a degree, were pretty. There was right? And now what I love is there's ads and movies and singers and radio show hosts that are all shapes and sizes and all manners of looks, and there's no blueprint anymore. There's no standard. I actually found this. I loved this. I was on a Victoria's Secret on their website, and they actually have plus size models now, as well as the regular Victoria's Secret models. And there was just something about that I was like, that is such a gift, because then it gives everybody permission to just be the way that they are, and you don't have to fit into this expectation that you should be a certain size, and that if you're not a certain size, that you're not okay, that somehow you're bad and wrong, or you have to have a White House white picket fence, 2.5 kids in a relationship to be okay. I remember that was a big one for me. For a long time, started when I was young, all the fairy tales and everything, but there really was a time where I thought I was broken if I wasn't in a relationship. But how that really backfired is like I ended up in like a really ugly, abusive, not fun relationship that I actually stuck out for a year and a half just because I believed I'd rather have a bad relationship than no relationship at all. That I would look more normal and more average and more real if I had some sort of relationship, even if it was awful. So fast forward quite a few years later, that's not my reality anymore. And one of the things that I chose to look at was like all the places where I judged me, and where I thought I was broken, and there was something innately wrong with me. And so there's this tool in Access Consciousness called the 5 Elements of Intimacy, and it's honor, trust, gratitude, allowance, and vulnerability. And the idea is that if you take these 5 elements of intimacy and you apply them to yourself, and you find those 5 elements of intimacy with yourself, that opens the possibility of you having that with somebody else. So it really does start with you, right? But it starts with you in that it starts with stopping judging you, stopping making yourself wrong, stopping comparing yourself to the neighbors or to your friends or to the magazines, like whatever it is, that comparing means you're in judgment of you because you're not that. And what I'd like to invite you to look at today is that you are enough. You are a gift already, exactly the way you are and exactly the way you're not. And there's no mold for you to fit in. There's no, because you broke the mold when you came in. You are so different. You are unique and beautiful and talented. In some way you're talented. Like, I know when I say talented, a lot of people go, well, I can't do art to save my life, and I can't sing, boy, you don't want to hear that, and blah, 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 right? But there's something that you're talented at. And it might just be that you're really great with numbers, or you're magic with time, that you managed to get a bunch of things done in a very short period of time. That's a talent. Not a lot of people have that talent. They're very stuck in time, constructs. And like, you could be really great at walking dogs and taking care of animals. Like, those are talents. And I think it's interesting because I was actually, it's funny to even think about this now, but I was in the Miss Teen Alaska pageant when I was 18 years old. So I know all about you had to be a certain size to fit into that whole thing. And in being in that, they were like, okay, and now you have to do a talent. Like, that was part of the thing. Like, what's your talent? I'll be completely honest with you. I don't even remember what I did because I believed I didn't have a talent. But the kind of talent they were looking for was like, can you act? Can you sing? Can you, can you dance? Can you, that sort of thing. And I can't remember what I did, which is really funny. But what I think is fascinating is, again, that's another limitation. That's another lid on what talent is. And so then we're like, well, I can't dance, sing, or do art, or play music, so I must not be talented. And that's a lie. There's something that you're so talented at. I know a woman who's really great at mediating. She's awesome at just being kind of the person that can hear both sides and help both sides really feel like they've been heard, and help them work through their stuff. That's a talent. That's like, I'm a clairvoyant medium. I would have 20 years ago thought that was more like a curse, but now I can see that it's a talent and it's a gift. So, but again, that was my judgment on like, well, I don't want to be that weird. Like, I really didn't want that gift. That was a gift that came on overnight, and I was like, whoa, wait, hang on, take it back. Just so you know, it didn't go back. There wasn't a return receipt on that. But that was my fear. It was like, I don't want to be the weird lady that's, lives on the street with 3 cats and, predicts everybody's future. I don't do that, by the way. And I don't have 3 cats. But so what if I did? Like, it's like it was, to me, 20 years ago, so outside the normal. And I so wanted to be normal. I have wanted to be normal my whole life. I was teased about my name. Venus is my given name, and I was teased about my name very young. I was made fun of. I was really tall and lanky, and my name was Venus, and I was teased. And I remember, like, at one point, like, getting into, like, kind of the bad kids group, and I realized fairly quickly, I was like, oh, that's a road I don't want to go down. I don't want to be the bad kid. I just knew that wasn't going to work out so well for me. But again, I was trying to fit in, so I was like, okay, well, maybe if I'm not popular and I'm teased all the time, maybe I can fit in with the bad kids. Which just got me in trouble, which is funny. And then I found out that I didn't want to do that. So then I was like, okay, so I'm not really popular. I actually do like everybody. I'm, a nice person. So, but I started to do this like middle of the road thing where I played the middle of the road. I wasn't too popular. I wasn't, too much of a troublemaker. I didn't stand out too much. I just didn't want to be too different. And so I spent so much time trying to fit in and trying to be normal. And, well, what's normal? Which is also another funny thing. Like, who defined what normal is? And I just think that that's very interesting concept, because you're like, okay, somebody along the way said that's normal, and then we all tried to be that. Why? Like, truthfully, and I've said this before, but it's about last week on the too much conversation. It's really funny that I don't want to stand out because my name is Venus and I'm 6 feet tall, so I stand out naturally, which is kind of funny. But that, like, this pull for so long to just be the same as everybody else is it's almost, well, it's not only a dishonoring of you, but it's also like, how inspiring is that? How if you see somebody who just wants to fit in and be normal, and like does that make you go, okay, I really want to be that? Or is it the people that are willing to stand out, to be different, to stand up for something, to be passionate, to be weird? Is it those people that you're like, I want more of that in my life? Like, what lights you up? To be, to fit in a box? Or to be everything you can be and so much. So everything that doesn't allow you to blow the lid off, all the places that you're trying to keep yourself normal, average, and real, we should be willing to destroy and create it. Systems we have that are no longer serving us about whatever I just talked about. So it's kind of hitting a mass delete button. and then gives you the opportunity and the possibility of actually changing things for yourself and choosing something different. And, if we're looking at all the places where we've put a lid on how much we can be, do, and have, the only thing that's limiting ourselves is us. Like, we're the only ones limiting ourselves. And often it's because we're afraid to be judged, afraid to be too different, weird or strange, worried about being hated or standing out. And then what I think is funny is if you think about it, is there somebody out there that doesn't like you and maybe even hates you? Probably. Are you already being judged? Most likely. Somebody's judging you somewhere. Positive or negative judgment is still judgment, right? Are you different? Like, you're already there, so you're trying to avoid this space of being that you're already experiencing, and then limiting how much you can be, do, and have. Everything that is times God say you're destroying and creating it all. Right, wrong, good, bad, POC, POD, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. We're going to take a short break here, and I'll see you, hear you, talk to you on the other side.
The best of the holistic, spiritual, and conscious world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
OMTimes magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organization, their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. Connect at omtimes.com. OMTimes, creating a more conscious lifestyle.
What is magnificent about you that you've never acknowledged? Are you ready to let your own light shine? What if you were 1,000 times more potent and powerful than you give yourself credit for? What if there was a monthly call that is designed specifically to empower you to be all you can be? Would that be fun for you? Venus Castleberg is now offering a magnificent monthly membership for only $50 a month. Mention this ad and receive 50% off. To register or for more information about the membership, events, and services, please go to www.venuscastleberg.com. Is now the time to be different?
Tune in to the Practical Intuitive, Mind, Body, Spirit for the Real World with me, host Robin Fritz, Mondays at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 Eastern. I'll cover personal and business intuition, animal communication, mediumship, space clearing, past life regression, shamanic insights, energy healing, soul choice, and more, all to help you tap your own intuitive and healing skills. No ifs, ands, or buts.
This is the story of a very special woman. Just a few knew about her superpowers. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Okay, thanks. So welcome back. So one of the things I was talking about before the break was like kind of letting go of the lid. Another reason why we have a lid in the first place is because we hold ourselves back so that others can come along. So we really want, people in our lives, people we care about, to come along. And the truth is, most of them don't want to. Like, trying to drag somebody along with you isn't usually a kindness, because they don't usually want to go with you. That doesn't mean that there aren't some that might choose what you're choosing, even for a time. But I've found over my lifetime, and even being in transformational work and coaching and all that stuff for 20 years, that a lot of the people that I've crossed paths with over the years have gone away. Even some people that I never thought would go away, like my best friend of 10 years, never in a million years thought she would go away. And then just one day she was gone. And I couldn't, it's not that she's not alive, but I couldn't get a hold of her and, get her to call me back and text me back or anything. And at first that was really hard for me, because I had actually had this belief that I was willing to go anywhere, even if nobody came with me. But I always thought she would go with me. And, I realized that I was willing, up until that point, I was willing to lose everybody and everything except for her. And then when that happened, I was like, wow, I didn't realize that, everybody to some degree probably doesn't want to go where you want to go. And at the same time, I wasn't willing to slow myself down or to stop doing what I was doing and choosing what I was choosing, and all the change and consciousness that I've been studying and choosing. I'm not willing to slow myself down anymore. But we do this in a lot of ways, right? So, maybe you have a family that didn't have a lot of money when you were growing up. So you don't want to outcreate them financially, because you don't want them to feel bad, to look bad, to not, feel good around you. Like they might judge themselves or whatever, right? So we tend to go, okay, no, I can only make this much money because I can't outcreate them that much, right? It's like, wow. So everywhere where you're holding yourself back in any area of your life because you want to try to take other people with you, you want to drag them all with you, would you destroy and uncreate that times a godzillion? I'm just going to assume somebody said yes out there. So, right, wrong, good, bad, POC, POD, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Thank you for that. And this waiting for other people to come along, slowing yourself down, trying to fit yourself into this reality, by trying to be slower and be less successful, it doesn't serve anyone, and it's really a disservice to you. Right? This is the cutting off your arms and your legs to go on the ride of somebody else's life. Rather than being wholly and completely you, unapologetically you, and going on the ride of your own life, regardless of whether anybody else comes with you. I kind of liken it to locomotives, trains. We all are on our own train. They could be old locomotives, they could be Amtraks, whatever, it doesn't matter, right? We all have our own trains. And every once in a while, somebody jumps on your train for a while. But then they get off the train and they go onto another train, or they get back on their train, right? So that's kind of how we are as people. We come in and out of people's lives based on where you are in your life. We also come together to learn new things from each other, to gain awareness from each other, up until, the tools of access consciousness, I definitely was in more of like the karma, like you have karma and dharma to live out from past lives, and you have oaths that you have to clear from past lives. You can actually choose something different. You don't have to be caught in that karmic wheel. We can talk about that another day. But but just knowing that people will come. I think there was a poem once, or somebody wrote something about, like, you know, some people will come into your life for a short term, some for, you know, a little while, and then some for a lifetime. But everybody comes and goes, you know, at their own time. I mean, even the people that you're with for a lifetime, one of you eventually chooses to die and leave your body. So if you weren't choosing based on what other people said you should choose, what you thought was the right way to choose, the right thing to choose, the normal way, what would you choose? If you were the choosing one, what would you choose? If you had a life and living that worked for you, what would you choose? Not based on anybody else, not based on their financial reality, what they're choosing as consciousness or anti-consciousness, what they're choosing for their physical bodies. Like, none of that matters. Like, really, nobody else's life matters. Matters to what you are creating in your life. Can you have other people join you on your journey? Absolutely. And you can be choosing what's best for you, even with other people on your journey. And that invites them to do the same. Right? It's just like, for me, sitting down with my chosen family recently and just having a conversation, going, okay, hey, so there's some things happening right now that don't work for me. And you can keep choosing those things, and that's fine, but I have to honor myself by saying that doesn't work. So again, if you were being the choosing one, what would you choose? And anything that doesn't allow you to perceive, know, be, and receive that with total ease, would you destroy and uncreate it in totality? Right, wrong, good, bad, puck, butt, all 9 shorts, boys and beyonds. So I mentioned that really horrible, not great relationship. A bad relationship was better than no relationship. And that was my way of trying to appear normal, average, and real. But for me, I was not allowing myself to have everything I desired and so much more. It was almost like being in a bad relationship helped me be more normal, but then didn't allow me to shine, to choose greater, to have greater, to be greater, because I was in constant maintenance mode, or trying, I guess, to fix myself. I was often in the wrongness of myself, like somehow I was doing something wrong, so I had to fix something over here. I was like in a problem, and when you're in a problem, you can't really choose something greater because you're too focused on your problem to solve. So you can like it to your bank account. So if you have don't have enough money for your bills this week, and then that's your focus. You're focusing on a problem and trying to fix a problem rather than what would it be like if you had $1 million? What could you choose and create with that? Because you have problems no matter how much money you have. It's just different problems. But how much more can you create? How much more choice and possibilities do you have if you allowed yourself to have as much money as you desire, not based on what anybody else is having or not having, right? So, and not slowing yourself down for anyone, not holding yourself back for anyone. One of the ways I had a lid, one of my lids I had an $8,000 lid. So I'd literally get $8,000, go to zero, get $8,000, go to zero. I couldn't have more money than $8,000 because I was uncomfortable, which right now seems really silly because $8,000 is not a lot of money. So, but I couldn't have more than $8,000. And then I wasn't willing to have more. It wasn't comfortable. It wasn't normal. Struggling with money was kind of my family thing. So I couldn't change. I didn't think I could change that because I felt like I had to like constantly play small so that I fit into my family even. So I was trying to fit into my family. Yay, me. But then how I changed that was I realized I had that, and then I said, okay, I'm going to destroy and uncreate that ceiling. And you can destroy and uncreate this with any ceiling that you have, any limitation, anywhere where you have limited how much you can be, do, and have, you can destroy and uncreate it. And the way that you do that is just, you can literally do the clearing statement that I just did, right, wrong, good, bad, puck, pot, all nine shorts, boys, and beyonds. Or you can do the abbreviation of the abbreviation, saying POC and POD, because POC is point of creation, POD is point of destruction. So it's where you created it and where you destroyed it. And then, or you can say that weird thing Venus said, or Gary and Dane are the ones that came up with it. Gary Douglas and Dr. Dane here, the founders of Access Consciousness. So you can do that yourself. You know where you're limiting you. You know where you're slowing yourself down, shutting yourself down, cutting yourself off. And we all do it. We all do it in different ways. And it's like, don't want to be too successful, don't want to stand out too much, don't want to be too beautiful. So there's got to be some problem with my body or something, right? Whatever it is. So you find wherever you're limiting you, destroy and uncreate it. And then, truthfully, when I destroyed and uncreated my $8,000 ceiling, I had a new one at $10,000. It was funny because I felt like I just put a new lid on and then put a new lid on. And so I had to keep destroying and uncreating that and really get to a point of creating far beyond anything I ever imagined. And actually creating a net worth. I never had a net worth until, truthfully, last year. Because I was always in debt and, I owed money on everything and I never owned anything. I never had a net worth more than maybe a couple of $1,000s. So, but again, every limitation I put on myself, every lid I put on myself was self-imposed. It was like, oh, okay, I guess I'm comfortable being this weird. I guess I'm comfortable being this tall. I guess I'm comfortable being this successful. And then all having to destroy and uncreate it. Now it is possible for you to just destroy and uncreate all of the limitations you've put on yourself, all of the lids, and be far greater than anything you could have ever imagined. So what if having more than you've ever even thought that you wanted or desired is simply choosing and asking for it and being willing to receive it. It's that simple. Ask and receive. It's even in the Bible. Ask and receive. It's that simple. But we also have, a lot of us, and I'll speak for myself, a limit to how much I can ask for. Because I'm like, well, I don't want to ask for too much. I was an only child. And I was a spoiled only child. And I will admit that full on. I had no limit to what I could ask for, and most of the time no limit to what I could get. Interesting, though, that stopped when my dad died when I was 18 years old. So I had somehow linked that I could have anything I wanted as long as my dad was alive to give it to me. So, but then now fast forward, it's like, okay, so now I'm starting to see more and more and more, and there's always more. It can always get better. It can always get greater. But more and more I'm starting to see, oh, I can have more here. I can be more here. I can receive more here. And I can even ask for more. Would you be willing to ask for more and receive it? And anything that doesn't allow that, will you destroy and uncreate at all times, of God's saying? Right, wrong, good, bad, POC, POD, all 9 shorts, boys and beyonds. No one has to go without for you to have more. Everyone can have more if they are only willing to ask and receive more. We'll be back after this short break.
The best of holistic, spiritual, and conscious world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Ascending Hearts is no ordinary dating site, but a spiritual dating site with a purpose, to link you with your soulmate. We engineer the serendipity so you can trust that you will attune with someone that has the same matching vibration as you. Ascending Hearts, the conscious dating site for the spiritually aware. Try Ascending Hearts for free. AscendingHearts.com.
Who said life had to be hard and disempower you? What if all of life really could come to you with ease and joy? What if everything you saw as a wrongness of you was actually one of your greatest strengths? What if you could wake up every morning with a newfound sense of empowerment? Join Venus Castleberg to discover a world of infinite possibilities. Every weekday morning at 8 a.m. Pacific, Morning Musings goes live on the Venus Castleberg CF Facebook page. What magic can we create every day?
Grab a cup of tea or a glass of wine and tune in for Inspired Conversations with publisher Linda Joy on Tuesdays at 2 p.m. Eastern. Linda creates sacred space for leading female luminaries, empowering authors, heart-centered female entrepreneurs, coaches, and healers. A soulful venue where guests openly share the fears and obstacles they've overcome, wisdom and lessons learned, and the personal journey that led them to the transformational work they do in the world. Inspired Conversations to empower you on your path to authentic, soulful living.
Imagine being fired because of who you love. Imagine being denied medical treatment because of who you marry. Imagine being evicted because of who you are. Millions of Americans don't have to imagine this. They have to live it. Because in 31 states, it's legal to discriminate against LGBT people. Get the facts at beyondido.org. Brought to you by the Gill Foundation and the Ad Council.
Hello everyone, welcome back. So right before the break I was just talking about kind of the places where we have lids and asking for more and being willing to receive it. Really nobody has to go without for you to have more. And everyone can have more if you only ask, if they only ask for it and are willing to receive it. So would you be willing to POC and POD, destroy and uncreate all of the judgments and limitations you have picked up along the way about asking for more and having more? Right, wrong, good, bad, POC, POD, all 9 shorts, boys and beyonds. So we've also been taught, and that's, I kind of touched on like me being an only child and getting everything I wanted. But from what I've heard from other people, growing up, a lot of parents would be like, why can't you just be happy with what you have? You know, stop asking for more. All of that stuff, right? So, and that's where it can start, because you believe that what somebody told you, that you shouldn't ask for too much, that if you ask for more, somebody has to go without. This was a good one, like, finish all your food on your plate because there's starving children in Africa. We've all heard these sayings or these projections that are not empowering you to be all you can be and choose all you can choose. They often are saying, oh, you can choose this much, but not that much, because that's too much. One example is I was listening to a dad talk about his daughter, and his daughter is like she's just exploring. She's got one more year of high school, and she doesn't know what she wants to do when she grows up. Surprise, surprise. I don't know what I want to do when I grow up, and I'm 47. So, so she's trying to figure it out, and she's got, she falls in love with this. She wants to go to this college. She falls in love with that. She wants to go to that college. And I was like, that's awesome. Like, every time I talk to her, I'm like, just encouraging her to, check things out, find out what lights her up and go there. And she's magic with everything, right? But I could tell her dad was doing this like interesting thing. Like, he'd be like, well, you may start somewhere else and then go there. And I was like, so I asked him about it. I was like, what is that? And he said, oh, I don't know if I can afford to send her to that special college. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, would you be willing to just let her figure that out on her own? Like, if she really wants to go to that college, I mean, she's a stellar, she's already been offered a scholarship to one college. So she's got the grades and the possibility of getting money to go to college. And I was like, but the reason why I shared that is because there's this difference in energy of being like, you can be anything you want to be. You can have anything you want to have. You can do anything you want to do versus, well, maybe not because maybe we won't have the money. And it's like, that is where parents often shut their kids down, tell their kids that they can't. Whereas I come from a different point of view now, especially with these tools, is just being like, you can be, do, and have anything. Anything. You only have to ask for it and receive it. And sometimes you have to choose it, right? Like, I'm really having that. Like, if you tell the universe, oh, I like that, that's not really saying, I'm having that, I'm choosing that. And instead, it's like when you choose something, when you say, I'm having that, or ask for it, then the universe can go to work on your behalf and put it all in motion, right? But what happens, believe it or not, if you think about it, what happens is there's an awful lot of stopping before the finish line. I've listened to a lot of different motivational speakers and transformation agents and consciousness facilitators, and so and I've been doing it for 20 years. So I'm a seeker by nature, and I can't tell you how many of them I have heard that the only failure is giving up. And we often give up right before the finish line. So we say we want something and we ask for something, and then we go in motion, and the universe goes in to work in our behalf as well. And then we quit when it doesn't happen fast enough. We quit when other people aren't going with us. We quit when it's too much for somebody else, or it's too much for society, or it's too much for your neighbors, right? Because we don't want to stand out. Well, the people that are running, like if you think about runners that run a race, they, like, some of them obviously physically can't finish, but a lot of times even those people I'll see carried across a finish line. Or like it's not in their vocabulary, most of them, it's not in their vocabulary to start a race and not finish it, no matter what timeline it happens in. So where are you quitting before the finish line? Where are you stopping yourself, putting a lid on it, trying to slow yourself down, and not seeing the fruits of your labor, not receiving everything the universe wants to gift you, because you're not willing to keep going and go even if nobody else goes with you? Right? Another place that I've seen this a lot too is like, imagine a lot of us I'm guessing that a lot of you listening have been in some class at some point that was, excuse me, geared towards transformation or consciousness, or that there was some motivational speaker or something like that. And if you were there, you perceived an energy, right? A lot of us get really motivated, inspired, on fire. We like, yay, hurrah, like there's energy of motivation. And then guess what happens? You come home from that and it stops. Well, part of that is because we're comfortable being in the small space that we've built for ourselves versus the expanded version, the space that you feel, the space that you experience inside of that event, and being that space now in your life. You take what you've gained, take that expansion, and take that into your life and see what you can be, do, and have create now, rather than coming back to this reality and to the finite limitations and the lids and everything that you've put on yourself just to appear more normal, average, and real. Which, what's normal, average, and real? I still have that question. So, and have you ever considered that you are not normal, average, or real? And I mean real in that the definition of what's real. Like, what if you're so much more than that? Right? And that is a gift. It's a gift that you're not the same as everybody else. It's a gift that you did break the mold when you came in. So now, would you be willing to blow the glass ceiling off all of your self-imposed limitations and be, do, have, and create everything you desire and so much more? And anything that doesn't allow that, we destroy and uncreate it all. Right, wrong, good, bad, POC, POD, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. And everywhere where you've gone, you've taken the space and the openness and the growth that you've experienced and tried to make yourself comfortable and familiar and small again, where you destroy and uncreate that times a godzillion. Right, wrong, good, bad, POC, POD, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. What is it that creates that whiplash when you come back home from something that grows you, something that expands you? Did you realize that it's your own willingness to be great, to be way more successful than everybody else, to have more money than anyone else, to be too sexy, whatever it is for you, right? Like there's something that you're not willing to be, that if you would be it, would create more than you ever imagined in your life and living. Anything that doesn't allow that, we destroy and uncreate it all. Right, wrong, good, bad, POC, POD, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Did you know that the reason why I talk about lids is because, did you know that if you put fleas in a jar, then you put a lid on the jar, the fleas will only jump. They'll jump and hit their heads on the lid for a while. Not super long, but and then they realize that if they jump that high, they hit their heads, so then they don't jump that high. So they jump just below the lid. Bonk, bonk, bonk. And guess what happens if you take the lid off? They still only jump just as high as right below where the lid was. Like, they're not willing to risk bumping their head, I guess, again, so they don't jump out of the jar, right? So where are you not jumping? Like, the lid's off. The lid's been destroyed and uncreated. We just destroyed and uncreated all the lids and limitations that you have. So now, are you willing to actually jump out of the jar? Would you be willing to be great and have it all? And anything that doesn't allow that, will you destroy and uncreate it all? Right, wrong, good, bad, puck, pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. What limitations, lids, everywhere where you have not been willing to be bigger, more successful, and have way too much money, would you also destroy and uncreate that times a godzillion? Right, wrong, good, bad, puck, pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. The cool thing is that the truth is you put the lid there. So, great news, whatever lid or limitation you've put on yourself, you can also destroy and uncreate it. You do not have to be limited by your beliefs, by your programs, by your stories, by what somebody else told you, by what's normal, average, and real, good, perfect, and correct in this reality. You get to be you. And that's the gift. Anything that doesn't allow that, will you destroy and uncreate it times a godzillion? Right, wrong, good, bad, puck, pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Would you be willing to stand out? To be different, to be weird, to be quirky, to be funny, to be goofy, to say things that other people don't get or understand. I was taking a walk with my partner the other day, and we walked by this tree that had all of these like seed pods on it, but they looked really soft, and there were a bunch of them, and it literally made the tree look fluffy. And I said that, and he chuckled, and he said, "I've never heard anybody refer to a tree as fluffy before." And I was like, well, it looks like Snuffleupagus. And we had such a great laugh about it, and just being playful and having fun. Another little trick that you guys know I like to give you tricks. That money follows joy. So if you want more money in your life, more success in your life, have more fun in your life. But that's part of that is when you're having fun and you're joyful, you're being you. When you're being serious and crotchety and all that stuff, you're not being you. Your natural state is ease, joy, and glory. So anything that doesn't allow you to perceive, know, be, and receive that, we destroy and uncreate it times a godzillion. Right, wrong, good, bad, puck, pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. The mantra of Access Consciousness is all of life comes to me with ease, joy, and glory. Say that 10 times in the morning and 10 times at night, and your whole world will change. Thank you for being with Venus on Outside the Impossible. I will talk to you next week.